ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We're back. Your 1973 podcast. A little lighter this week, much like a light beer. Brad, Phantom, light beer. Everything you always want in a podcast, but less. So here we go. We usually start with our one watch. Everybody knows the rules, but there was a passing this week. Kind of had a little conspiracy theory to it. Big player in the movie realm, Gene Hackman. Thomas, thoughts on the passing of Gene Hackman?
The guy was in a million movies. I mean, I'm interested to see what your conspiracy theory is. I know there was like a little with how they died and stuff, but he was a great actor. I mean, he won two Oscars, I believe. He's I'm not saying next week's movie may or may not be in honor of him. One of it might be one of his movies. Sorry, Brad, it's not going to be The Replacements, but it's it's going to be missed. I loved him in Hoosiers. I loved him in Quick and the Dead, Unforgiven, The French Connection. I believe that's what he won an award for. He's going to be missed. I mean, he lived a full life. He was 95. So,
yeah, Brad, thoughts on the Gene Hackman passing?
I mean, the pictures that the most recent pictures of him, I mean, he was 95.
yeah.
Like, he does not look like that stud of a coach from the best football movie ever made, The Replacement, starring Keanu Reeves. He just does not look the same. And then I saw that he was married to an old Asian woman, and I was like, okay. I bet you they had an argument. She turned the gas on, and like she did some bullshit. They did find a bunch of pills and stuff on the sink. There's suspicious circumstances, but I feel like as far as conspiracies go, I mean the guy, I mean he's old. What are they gonna do? Like what conspiracy can they pull? Or like what use does Hollywood have, for Gene Hackman? Unless it's one of those like, because the chick from Buffy the Vampire Slayer died too.
Yeah.
Uh, Michelle Trachtenberg. That one was kind of like WTF. But then another third famous person died. So they come in threes. Maybe it's like a ritualistic like sacrifice thing. They kill off the old to make way for the new. I don't know. It could be something like that. Something weird.
Only so many through the gate, Brad. We'll save that
Mhm.
for the end of the Elimination Chamber, right?
Yep. Only so many.
Phantom, thoughts on Gene Hackman? Big fan.
Oh, big fan. As Lex Luthor. I mean,
Yep.
it's funny. He's one of those guys. He was like in a zillion movies, and I'm at work, and there's a lot of people that are like way younger than me. So I'm telling them when I came across the old stuff, I'm like, oh man, Gene Hackman died, and I'm like the only person who knows who freaking Gene Hackman is.
There's no way. No
So
way.
I start throwing out some of like the older movies, and I'm like, nope, nope. I'm like, oh come on, man. Not even Lex Luthor. Yeah, it's like you don't even know that one. It's like, nope. I'm like, yeah, forget it. But I like the guy's been in 100 movies, and I started like thinking of him in my head to throw him out there, and it's like I'm drawing a blank out of like 5 movies, even though I know he's got a zillion of them. But no, it's sad. It's funny when people disappear from the limelight, you don't realize how long it's been since you actually saw him. Because when they were showing, his more recent clips, I couldn't believe how elderly he was. And then when they said how old he was, I was like, when this guy was making movies, was he already like in his 80s and just like kind of looking good, or has he just been
Yeah.
gone already for 20 years and I didn't realize it?
We didn't
But
realize it, man. That's
all
what it
the
was.
situational stuff is all kind of weird. Where it first came out and it was like, oh, they there's something with the heat or something like that, and then later on it's like, oh no, they're in different rooms and the dog was in the closet and his daughter's out having lunch the next day, having all kinds of laughs and stuff. So it's kind of a weird situation from some of the side stuff that I've seen.
Yeah, when we were talking either the last week or the week before, when I was mentioning how the 1970s was great for movies, the French Connection was an epic in the early 70s of a template for those crime dramas that had a deep story to it, and there were the gritty cop thing, that came with Serpicos and all those other movies that came along after it. So, credit to his genre and that stuff for creating, these great movies. So definitely, I know Brad was saying his age, but definitely a Hollywood icon, I guess in our age group, I would say, even though he's a little ahead of the curve, but definitely a a noteworthy passing. If you guys agree on that.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
the weird thing was that with the dog being dead and like they had him in the closet or something, and then the other two dogs were alive out, I think, outside. It is weird.
When I saw that the dog was in the closet, it made me feel like somebody killed him, like the dog was like maybe trying to protect him or something, and whoever was in the house put him in the closet.
Yeah, weird circumstances for sure.
Definitely, definitely. So one watch, everybody knows the rules. My pick, classic Cannonball Run. Could talk a whole podcast about this movie. One line is the cast is great. The banter with Sammy Davis Jr. and Dean Martin. I can remember being in the movies with my father sitting in 140 when those two were going back and forth and just sitting next to me laughing, 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 and that's what sticks with me every time I see that. When they're waiting to clock in to start the race and they're drunk and you can't drive, I'm driving, that whole thing, hilarious. Burt Reynolds, I believe, don't quote me on this, but there's a story about him doing the movie and demanding the first $1 million payday to be in the movie. And they actually got him the money. Hal Needham was a stunt coordinator in former movies before that Burt Reynolds was in. Wanted him to play the main role. He said, give me $1 million. It was unheard of at the time, and they actually bit and went along with it with the first $1 million payday to do a movie. So fun fact about that. So my score on this, I had to write it down because I was back and forth with it with different things. 8-6, Cannonball Run. What do you got, Brad?
Man, see, you guys are all excited about this movie for the jokes and Sammy Davis and Dean Martin. Look, name one other movie in history you have James Bond, Burt Reynolds, and Jackie Chan in the same film. Name it.
None.
None. It's
The
epic, dude.
Expendables.
The Expendables. Yeah, this was the Expendables before they made the Expendables. So great cast. I'm a huge, huge Burt Reynolds fan, and being born in the '80s, growing up in that time frame. If you watch this movie, and even the sequels and the Smokey and the Bandit movies, you grew up loving American muscle cars, fast cars, and driving. The cars in this movie stand out to me. The Ferrari 308, the Lamborghini Countach, the Subaru four-wheel drive, all-wheel drive hatch that Jackie Chan was in. Dude, even like this was like picking on the Japanese so bad. He had like a VCR and he puts a little like porno tape in there
Behind the green
Behind the
door.
green door.
behind the green door. I'm like, oh my goodness, man. The stereotypes and the cliches, man, of this movie. But they even have James Bond's Aston Martin, a plethora of cars in this movie, stuff in the background that you probably didn't even notice, from like a Lotus and a 79 Mazda RX-7. Tons and tons of Firebirds, the Highway Patrol Firebirds, the TA. Oh man, I could go on and on just about the cars in this film. Cannonball Run has been remade a bunch. If you're a gearhead, if you've ever been into cars, you know they've done Cannonball Gumball runs on YouTube where they were straight up illegal. It was like, if you get arrested, we're not bailing you out. There's no Hollywood back. There's no lawyers. You're on your own type shit. And they would race across the country. Everything, car culture, period, is inspired by this movie. I give it a solid 8.0. I love this. I love this movie.
So
I just
before I go to the Phantom, I would just even like the small part that like Joe Klecko has in it, and Terry Bradshaw. It's just an all-star cast of not only Burt Reynolds' buddies, but people he'd been in movies with. Jamie Farr was doing MASH
Yep.
at the time. Roger Moore that was when his version of Bond was super hot.
Yep.
Yeah, it just hits. It was like maybe like one of the biggest casts in the 80s for a movie, and that was 81 when it came out. So Phantom, I know you're a big Captain Chaos fan.
Sure.
Take it away.
It's funny that you bring up Dom DeLuise I'm rewatching it. Haven't watched it in a long time. especially in its entirety. Yeah, I might have caught it here or there or remember it fondly. You're gonna get mad at me, but this is like the first classic movie that I watched when I was rewatching it that it didn't carry with me. Like I didn't think it was funny like I thought when I was a kid. Like Dom DeLuise is not funny at all. Like all that dun dun dun, all that shit that we thought was great when we were. I'm like, I'm not falling asleep in it, but that's not quite as good as I remember it. Cast phenomenal, obviously. The one line is that behind the green door has been me and Andy's little freaking wink wink for anything that's a little shady. So we've been saying that for a long time, but I'm gonna go 7.8. I was thinking like almost 7.5, but I'll let the childhood bump it up a couple of points. But going into it, I was thinking I was getting like mid-8s before I started watching it. But
I get the childhood roll the dice on the score too a little bit, but I just want to, before we get to Tom, because it's his pick this week for a movie and he's going to give Shaggy and Ed score. Who do you think steals that movie the most? Out of all those actors, who's the biggest movie stealer in that?
I thought Jamie Farr as the Sheik. I loved him in that, and him and Sammy Davis Jr. I mean, there's still lines like "Pull over, I want to bless thee." I mean, we used to say that shit all the time when we were going out. I mean,
I have to probably go Dean Martin. When you're watching Dean Martin play a drunk, and then you're thinking to yourself, "This motherfucker's really drunk."
He wasn't playing.
He wasn't playing.
They were always the biggest scene steals for me when they're in the bar and they're at the hotel bar when they're taking a break from racing, and Adrian Barbeau and the other girl are in there, and he's trying to pick her up, and they're like, "That doesn't fly, Father." He's like, "Oh, no, that's not us. We're Methodists. We're way on the other side, like trying to still working it." I'm like, this freaking guy's.
The thing that was funny too was like iconic for the time as well. Farrah Fawcett. Watching it, Farrah Fawcett's still Farrah Fawcett, but even Farrah Fawcett wasn't like I remember Farrah Fawcett being when I was watching it. I don't know if everything's got all blitzed out now and we're more in the modern days.
Great hair.
I was like, damn, I wish I didn't watch this thing.
Great hair on Farrah Fawcett. Professor, you have the floor.
Well, before I do anything, I have to do somebody else's job because they aren't here to do it. I got to give the our sponsor his due. We didn't do it. So, hey there, podcast fans. Are you ready to show off your love for the 1973 podcast? We've got over 20 different designs of t-shirts and hoodies that capture the essence of classic stuff. Whether you're a fan of the shows or just love that retro feel, we've got something for everyone. From bold prints to subtle nods to your favorite personalities, each piece is made with top-notch quality and that timeless style you crave. Perfect for lounging at home or making a statement out and about. And don't wait. Our collection is flying off the shelves faster than you can say, "Don't be cheap, buy a shirt." Visit us at bonfire.com and grab your favorites before they're gone. 1973 Podcast T-shirt store is on YouTube. Just click the link in our episodes. All right. Now, got a few guys not here. They gave us our scores. Ed goes with a 7.3. Shaggy's going with a 7.2. And Darren gave it a 7.8. And it's funny because I actually thought Darren was going high until I heard you guys, all your scores. So now I feel bad because I'm going a little bit low on this.
Be you, Tommy. Be you. It's your opinion.
I thought I have to agree with Ryan. It's not the same seeing it when you're older as when you were younger when it was out. But I mean, it was funny. It was good for what it was. A laugh. It's never going to win any awards or anything. I thought that, as you guys said before, another person we haven't named that's in it, Adrian Barbeau. There was another one that was in it. I mean, just the amount of people is just ridiculous that they had in this thing. So you guys have done a pretty good job with your talking about the movie. But I always like throwing in a little did you know about the movies. And the one Andy, you go off of what you said about Burt Reynolds with his pay. He became the highest paid actor at that time for his role in the movie. I think he got paid $5 million. The ambulance in the movie was actually the same one that Hal Needham and the screenwriter Brock Yates raced in the real Cannonball Run race. I thought that was pretty cool. And then I thought it was pretty cool. At the end of the movie, they showed bloopers and during the credits, and it inspired Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan does it in almost all of his movies, and that's what he said where he said he got it from.
Hmm.
So it is. I'm gonna go say like we always go. Is it quotable? There are quite a few quotes that we always say.
Brad
I'm
doesn't say that.
7-4.
I don't say that.
So if you can stall a minute, Andy, I'll
Yeah.
add it up.
Yeah, I always thought that that was pretty iconic about the movie, the blooper reel at the end. So many people have
Mhm.
copied that since. It wasn't really done before that. Even in comedies, they never really liked to show outtakes. But yeah, I remember that was one of the first time people actually stayed and watched the credits when you could go to the movies to see stuff multiple times because you never knew if you were going to see it again before the VHS craze really kicked in, or seeing it on HBO or cable TV. So
I wish Marvel would have stole that and then showed the stuff right as the movie ends instead of making you watch the full credits before they
Jeez.
give you the plug.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it's usually a letdown most of the time.
yeah. Lately, the mid-credit and end-credit scenes don't even further the story. They're just throwing random bullshit out there.
Thomas,
All right. So for a score, we've got a 7-7.
I don't think that's that bad for that
No,
movie.
IMDb has it at a 6.2.
Wow. All right,
Yeah.
so
I thought I was
but
being generous with a 7-4, and then I saw your scores. I mean, geez.
well, I mean the people sometimes these Uber movie goers love to be Siskel and Ebert with everything. So yeah, I think that's great for a movie that's a cult hit. Well, amongst the podcast,
Yeah.
the Gen Xers.
I should have stayed right there and forget Cannonball Run too. I mean,
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. No, if you couldn't watch the first one again, Ryan, you'll have a really hard time watching the second one.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch the second one when it was a thing.
Yeah. Same as Smokey and the Bandit. Like Dom DeLuise, like you said, like back then, I guess we thought he was funny.
we were
Then you go
kids.
rewatch him, and it's like, ah. And then he got his fingers into the Smokey and the Bandit franchise, and it's just like I don't know. I don't know what was going on between Burt Reynolds and him always having to do.
I
I don't
believe
know,
two of
dude.
us here have pictures with Smokey and the Bandit.
Yes,
Really,
yes.
dude.
Burt Reynolds, right before he passed away, you got a chance to meet him. He was definitely not the Burt Reynolds that you
No.
remember. He was
Yeah,
an absolute shell of himself.
Yep.
wheelchair bound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thomas,
All
your
right,
pick for next week.
for next week, I'm gonna go in honor of Gene Hackman passing. We've been doing a lot of comedies, a lot of dramas. We did the horror movie to start with Halloween. I'm gonna go with the Western. I'm going with Unforgiven.
Okay. Okay. That's great.
I can't wait to
Oh,
rewatch that one.
I
one
love that one.
watch. Everybody knows the rules.
Yep.
Just like the Phantom with Cannonball. One watch. And score as you go. So Thomas, we're gonna should be a good week. The former lovers of pro wrestling are not with us. They cannot bash it this week. We're on the road to WrestleMania. We're on recording the day after Elimination Chamber. Uh, this is where we start talking some shop. So this is one of the pay-per-views. I still call them pay-per-views, not PLEs. That I sat down and I watched it
You old.
live, and I was disappointed until the end. Bradford, bring us up to speed because the
What?
professor did not watch it.
I feel like I watched it.
Yeah.
I can. I've got the cliff notes.
It's all over Facebook.
I
Immediately they start posting the updates. What does Triple H have to do, Andy, to get you to enjoy a pay-per-view? What if he changed the name back to pay-per-view? Would you enjoy them more?
Okay, so let's have a little banter because Ed and Shaggy on here.
Yeah.
We're gonna get into it right now, Brad.
They got John Cena flu.
This
They
is
got- yeah.
this is the problem I have with the way it's presented. There is no way that you can have I'll say an elimination chamber match, steel cage, we know it's chain, and use that structure as your base of your storyline with the ladies, and then expect to take it serious with the guys. It's just it's a bad look. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens in that grudge match, no blood. They used everything but the kitchen sink. And it's like the guys at the end didn't have to do anything and they got more of a pop than the two guys that killed themselves. It's all about the psychological storytelling, that how you play with the emotions. But how many times are you going to see somebody get hit with a trash can or barbed wire chair and they bust Cody open with the belt? Those other two guys, no blood, but they bust Cody open up at the end. Why? What happened during the match?
Maybe they may have done it to make it mean more with Cody than
100%.
Could be.
You nailed it.
I mean, but you see my point though. Then don't have that match on the show, and then save it for Gaga with something else. You wasted a grudge match for
The
nothing.
thing I think that's messed up is like anything that has to do with The Rock, all the rules go out the window.
Yep.
Swearing allowed, blood allowed, but just for him.
Yep.
It's kind of I get it, but I don't know. Product wise, I don't think it's good.
No, you're exactly right.
The guys must be saying these guys are getting to use all the tools to get over, and we can't. They're already all over.
Even on the WWE Facebook, they've reshared the Cody clip with the "Go F yourself" heard around the world, and they're not even bleeping out the F bomb.
Wow.
Like that's circulating YouTube, Facebook, Instagram from the WWE page. You know what I mean? And so The Rock is probably just paying the fines and coming out of pocket for that. I think the PLE, sorry Andy, the pay-per-view as a whole was extremely entertaining. The women's match with the return of Jade, y'all know I got a soft spot for Jade, so super excited for that. I was hoping it was Bianca or Naomi that threw her through the car so we can get that Triple H Shawn Michaels vibe going again from back in the day where he's like, yeah, I did it. I did it, I'm hoping they cut a promo like that. The Sami Zayn KO match was really fun to watch. Again, weird with no blood. Literally gets like power bombed through a barbed wire chair. Even my son was like, what? There's no blood, you know? So even like that 9-year-old brain, also happy birthday, he just turned 9, is picking up on that stuff. So yeah, it was weird. Was it a good match? It was fun. It was entertaining. I'm sick of the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn feud. There's got to be somebody else on the roster. I don't know. I have a crazy idea. You gave Braun Breaker this push where he was destroying people in like 20-second matches. He wins the Intercontinental title in like no time, and then haven't seen him since. Wasn't even in the King of the Ring. Haven't seen him since. You're telling me you couldn't get an Intercontinental defense match thrown in there for Braun Breaker? Instead, we got the same tired Sami Zayn KO match again?
can you
For
even
like
have
the
the
fifth
champion
time?
on? I mean, Gunther didn't do anything with Gunther, right?
Yeah, and Gunther either. Weird booking. Now, I'm not even going to talk about the Trish Stratus match. That was like even the crowd was like bored. Yeah, the crowd that was there was bored. But the heel turn, I mean, holy crap! As we're watching that promo, as we're watching the men's elimination chamber, which left a lot to be desired. I don't know how many times you hit your finisher and still get they still uh get out of the 2 count. Like I think CM Punk took everybody's finisher at least twice before he finally tapped out. Like, what's the point? I thought the pedigree and the GTS were and the stomp were all protected. I mean, Seth Rollins hit Roman Reigns with that stomp after the Royal Rumble, and we haven't seen Roman Reigns since. Everyone else in the Elimination Chamber takes a stomp 2 or 3 times. They're just getting up like one more. How many times is Seth Rollins super kicking that match for no, it's fruitless. Anyway, the heel turn at the end. I told my wife, like, as it's happening, I'm like, Cody or Cena, one of them are turning heel. Like, one of the two, like, it's gonna happen. So just be ready for it. And when The Rock went like this, bro, I come out of my armchair, dude. I put the bourbon down, hopped up, I was excited. It was epic. The go F yourself, bro, is brilliant. Brilliant booking. Travis Scott, weird, standing in the background like he don't know what to do with his hands. But he's been a figure piece in so many PLEs, and he showed up on episodes just random times. He came out with Jey Uso a while back. And The Rock said in the after show press conference that he's been training. He's gonna like have more active roles. I will say I love that Logan Paul and I Show Speed and all these like younger generational talent. You know what I'm talking about? Like for the young kids, they're bringing in all these people to get views and clicks, and I love it. Drake was at this one watching, and he posted about it. And now everybody's trying to watch, WWE because of Drake. Um, Stop. I don't want it to become trendy. I like it the way it is. Don't become like the next big thing. It's been out forever. It's had its chance. Like WWE fans are like a tight group. I don't want it to be like worldwide, uh, super famous. Like I like where we're at. So
See, the thing
Drake,
that you're
stop
going
tweeting about WWE.
you're going through, Brad, what we went through when wrestling had a big boom when Hulkamania came along.
Hmm.
There were people that were watching it that I was all I had been watching it for a good at least 5 6 years, and then all these new fans came on with the Hogan thing and WrestleMania 1 and '85 and the Cyndi Lauper thing off of MTV. You had that whole influx, and it ruined what it was. It
Hmm.
ruined the count. It was almost like counterculture. They weren't worried about offending anybody. Like, it was smoke-filled gymnasiums, and you watched it with your grandmother, like I did, or you watched it after cartoons, and it was like, well, you knew like the kids that you could talk to about it that were like into it, and they didn't talk about it like it was fake. Nobody ever really talked about it was fake. It wasn't until a little bit later on that people started that buzz. That's what it's almost like. It's like Metallica before the Black Album. It's like liking metal before it became popular, or that band that you loved and then they go mainstream. And it's like, wow, they were so much better when it was just the little crew that you had of people that you could talk to about it, and everybody kind of knew a little bit. Now it's like, oh yeah, your friend's sister likes Metallica now, or your friend's little sister likes, Logan Paul type of thing. So yeah, it's that kind of thing where wrestling is now, and WWE is it's bigger than it ever has been, but to me, it's not as big as it was at one time. It just doesn't. Some things don't make sense to me, and when they let in a celebrity, should never be able to come in and make a wrestler look bad. And they did that with like Mayweather, and you know uh, Jay Leno, and all these. Don't don't let them come into your world, because you couldn't go into their world and do what they're doing to your thing. That's what I understand about they don't protect the business anymore. But Tom was saying a really good thing that Triple H had kicked everybody out of Gorilla. Did you hear that story?
Mm-mm.
Before that whole thing started, to prevent any word getting out on social media from the people that can't keep a secret, that's what
Mm.
was going to happen. So that part of it, where they protect the surprise, you watch it for a surprise. You watch it for it wouldn't be as big if you knew what was going to happen. And that's the thing I keep saying when I go on these rants about the wrestling. Watch it. Hopefully it hooks you once or twice a year to keep watching it. And of course this is a hook now. I was never a huge Cena fan, but my take on it, and we said it last week, is that they're using that creepy factor that's going on conspiracy theory about how Hollywood is. Cena's already in
Mm.
Hollywood, but is he lining himself with The Rock to be a bigger star than he already is? You can play it into it. They kind of, you know, blur that line. Thoughts on that there, Phantom?
Yeah, I thought the same thing. When as it's happening, actually, I thought of a couple of different things. To be honest, it was like when Cena was standing behind him, I'm already like, are they actually going to turn Cena bad? And then when he finally does it, I thought the way that he did it was pretty good with the hug, and he's got his back to him, and you see the expression change in his face and all that. And I started thinking to myself, like, this group, they want to turn him heel so that their main event could be the traditional, like, our super face is going to be against the new hottest heel. But that's not how people think anymore. I'm like, everybody's going to be all about this Cena turning heel thing, and before you know it, I'm like, the merch is going to come out, and everybody. So it's like, I can see the fans are going to be cheering for bad guy Cena more than Cody. I think they should have went really the other way and had Cody go through all the stuff of, no, I ain't doing it, and then when he hugs Cena, he should have turned on Cena, and because everybody would love Cena, and everybody's been dying for Cody to go bad. So I don't know if they went about it the right way as far as that goes, but for shocking, for the shock of it, I thought, I mean, you probably can't really beat it. Everybody's expecting Cody to turn bad at some point, but having the Cena flip is wild. I'm curious what they do with the character. The other thing I thought too, with the whole Hollywood thing, if they want that thing to go even, I'm waiting for Hogan to show up and be with him, because he's another Hollywood guy, and everybody hates him. So he shows up with the group, all bets are off. Everybody's going to be booing.
Imagine that. Imagine if that's the three: Hogan, Rock.
Hogan likes to jump on something hot. So
they even mentioned him during the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Well,
So
Seth is trying to break into movies too, and he got cut out of the latest Captain America movie.
Yeah.
He was supposed to be in a couple of scenes, and he was bitching about how his scene got edited out.
Well, he keeps dressing the way he's dressing, and they're going to cut a lot of stuff out.
You don't like his outfit?
Bradford, come on now. You're from the South. How can you ask me that question? You're from the deep, deep South. How can you ask me that question? Massachusetts is a liberal state.
Every time he comes out, we just laugh. I'm like, it gets crazier. But to the Phantom's point, like I thought the same thing as you. I thought for sure Cody was going to turn. Like, there's no way that Cena, because like Vince protected that. Like he would never turn heel, and now we flipped it. He did turn heel, but the crowd immediately had Cody's back. They were immediately started booing Cena. And I don't think Cena, like personally, I don't think Cena can take that. Like his ego is it being for the first time in his career being booed. I think he's gonna struggle with that. But I thought the same thing. I thought they were gonna cheer for Cena for this heel turn. They were booing him. Like it made Cody an even bigger face, and people have been really like bored with his title defense. He's only defended his title a handful of times since he won it. So it's been kind of boring. It's not an interesting run at all. And like people were at the point of he needs to drop the title. It needs to be Roman Reigns, The Rock, somebody else, whatever. And now they're booing Cena and cheering for Cody. It's like the "we want Cody" shit is back just in time for WrestleMania.
So do they put the belt on Cena at WrestleMania? What do you think?
It's not gonna happen. There's no way.
I
I
think
think
so.
I think it's gonna. This is what they're gonna use. So he gets flipped on by John Cena, the biggest face the industry ever had. This is the thing, the tipping point. I think we're gonna see not corporate selling out to Rock Cody, but this is gonna be a tipping point to get even closer to Homelander Cody. It's
Thomas,
coming.
do you think they put the belt on Cena at WrestleMania?
No, but they could.
Mm.
I'm trying to think right now. It took getting old. My memory's gone. Who won Money in the Bank?
Drew McIntyre. He already cashed it in,
Oh,
and
all right. I was going to say maybe you'll have him cash it in at the end. How Triple H likes to always throw that little curveball at the end, but
I think Cody wins. I mean, Cody loses the belt and wins Money in the Bank. He's never won that.
Hmm.
So
maybe.
maybe and then Cena, The Rock, and maybe an appearance by a now aged Hulk Hogan. And if they want to really get heat, they can bring in old lady Dave Batista in and put.
I'm holding out. I think Cena loses to Cody, but to break Flair's uh record, he's going to go to TNA and beat Joe Hendry and put
Oh,
Joe Hendry over. And
So
that'll
go back,
force
just go
Joe
back to
Hendry.
1996 if you want to know how this angle is going to go, and go watch the NWO angle because
Look, it'll force Joe Hendry to drop the title, and then he'll have to go full time to WWE, where we all want him anyway. Let's be honest.
I can just see pictured Triple H backstage with the boys and saying, as he watches the old tapes of the NWO angles, and we can do this better. I can do this better, and then redoing the whole thing. But it wouldn't surprise me if they start bringing guys in like Hogan. I mean, you never even know. You could even see Nash. I mean, you know how Triple H is, how he is with his good buddies. I mean, they're all getting jobs backstage now.
Well, I'd love to see it just be if they were actually in some
Hollywood.
movies. Yeah, I don't want to see any, just for the sake of being there. I want to see actual guys like Hogan, and if they're going to do that type of Hollywood insider thing, that
Oh, Kevin Nash was in The Replacement. I mean, he was in John Wick. He was in John Wick.
Punisher, John Wick. He was in.
Longest Shot.
Is
The
the name of
Longest
the name of the group going to be the Hollywood Elites?
Could be.
I think Hogan's too old to come back and do some NWO shit, man.
Well, just to be there though. I'm not saying to wrestle.
Yeah.
I'm just saying to be in the crew, and then maybe you can get a recharged Cody Rhodes chasing the belt, and then he gets Flair to manage him one last run to win the belt back from Cena. Maybe
Even
something like that.
Flair was spouting off on his social media too, talking about Cena ain't that guy. He's not gonna. He can't beat his record. Like Flair was talking shit too.
If they were smart, they're always trying to put Flair's daughter over Charlotte. They should start having Cena talk smack about her and about her father.
Yeah.
And
one thing I thought was actually pretty decent too, when Cena had that weird interview after the last pay-per-view. Kind of goes along with the story, so it kind of makes sense.
It does.
Every time they do something, and at the time doesn't really make sense, later on it ends up kind of unfolding. So maybe they have the long view.
Did y'all see the meme? Someone was holding up like an NWO poster, and it was NW, and the O was Cena's bald spot.
Yeah. You think they're gonna do anything different with Cena's look? Like, is he still gonna come out with the jean shorts, or are they gonna do something with?
I was going to ask you that. That was going to be one of my questions before we left the wrestling segment of this.
You should come up with the dyed blonde hair like the Hollywood people. Like the Rock's already making them do all the shit.
Like slick back hair.
They could do some cool stuff with it if they got the right vision.
Cancel all the Make-A-Wish trips.
Oh.
Hey, it was funny. I saw a clip that before he came out, he had like the Make-A-Wish kids at this event, and it was showing him in the back, talking to him, and then the conversation that he was having. Then he goes out and turns heel. In the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, these poor kids are probably in the back freaking crying.
Yeah, but you're not thinking of the premise of the whole Make-A-Wish thing, and that's you just met the guy that just turned. And that's your Make-A-Wish?
Yeah.
Well, if he was, if I was him, I'd be like, hey, you want to know a secret? Watch what I'm about to do. And let the Make-A-Wish kids be the only ones that actually knew what was going to happen.
They won't be there. They won't. No, I'm not even going to say it.
Hey! Hey! I just met this man, Lord.
He's new.
Pull over and let me bless you.
Good segue. Good segue. Bradford, you want to add any more wrestling tidbits before we bounce out of this segment?
Nah, man, I enjoyed it. Elimination Chamber lived up to the hype. Can't wait to see what Monday Night Raw brings. Lots of storylines to follow up on, so I'm excited for it.
So you think that?
Okay.
Do you think the follow-up from tonight is going to be tomorrow, or do you think they're going to hit it on Friday night?
Definitely, I think we'll see some stuff on Monday Night Raw. Yeah, for sure. They got to address it. I mean, Travis Scott got a cheap shot.
That's what I was just going to say. They're snatching it out of him pretty good.
But Cody,
when you were saying about Andy of letting these like celebrities in, if you let them in because they want to be a part of it, and everybody thinks that they can come from wherever they are and come into this, it's got to be like I show speed. Oh, let them in the ring and then break a freaking crack them. And so if Travis Scott decides he wants to wrestle, I hope Cody has a receipt for that and say, okay. Then you're super stiff for them. So then after they have their little moment of wrestling, you don't have to worry about them trying to sell because they're really going to be hurt.
Well, that was always my daffy desire. I think I said that a while ago. The ghost of Bruiser Brody would show up in an AEW ring and just beat the crap out of some of these wannabe indie guys that are flip flopping around. And he no-sold for Lex Luger on when Luger was on the ascension to going somewhere. Just imagine what a guy like that would do with no respect for the business.
It's like if you want to do it with a Mayweather or Mr. T, they look Zeus. They look the part. Get them a little bit of training. Even when they had like Malone and Rodman. All right, basketball players, but they Shaq, big dude. But like the guys that are like regular guys that are like skinny, like you're not even 200 pounds. Get out of here! Who wants to see that?
Well, the thing with Mr. T, look at him. He was like one of they had let celebrities around it, like Ali in the 70s a couple times, but he was a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah.
Look at how much Roddy Piper protected the business from Mr. T embarrassing them, that he was like wanting to really fight him.
Yeah.
And Roddy Piper wasn't the biggest guy, but that's what I'm talking about that. That's what's gone with the whole pro wrestling thing, is that mystique of, hey, these guys can't work a 9-to-5 job. These guys are like all loose cannons, even the ones that are like good guys on TV. You're not walking up to like a Blackjack Mulligan and saying, hey, this shit's fake. What? You're getting the Dr. D. You're getting the John Stossel treatment. That's an open hand slap right there. But Tom, you want to add anything to
just a thing. I don't know if you guys saw who was starting a new wrestling podcast. Stephanie McMahon is starting a new wrestling podcast.
It's on ESPN, right? It's streaming on ESPN, and she's doing.
Now, is it wrestling based, or is she going to be talking to like all kinds of people that go like a regular TV
as far as I know, it's wrestling, but I don't really know.
The first 3 episodes are Pat McAfee, Stone Cold Steve Austin, and one other person. And Pat McAfee was joking about it, saying, how did I get picked with 2 Hall of Famers? So it looked like she was asking pretty decent questions. So
I'm surprised they don't put her in the Hall of Fame if they're going to. She's a legit Hall of Famer.
For obvious reasons, or?
Well, it's a big part of it anyway. Back in the day, Brad, big fan?
I'm still a big fan.
Brad, would you marry into that money?
Oh, 100%. But speaking of the McMahons, that whole Vince starting his own promotion with Fox, that rumor's been put to bed. Like, that's not happening. Fox denied it. So whoever leaked it, maybe Fox is playing coy. Maybe they're trying to, build up some anticipation, but they denied it. So, but if he does it, I'm going to watch that shit. I'm tuning in.
They should have Vince come out with those guys at WrestleMania if you want the roof to blow off.
Oh,
bro.
Wow.
Imagine that.
That would be epic.
Imagine if he was behind the whole thing.
It's been a work for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Going to come out with the hood again like how we did the last time.
Even if it's Shane, even if it's Vinnie Mac, like Shane O'Mac, get one of them in there and just like to be like, hey, this was a McMahon doing this behind the scenes, that would be epic.
He was higher power, remember, behind the Undertaker? During the much watched Attitude Era. That's overrated to me, but that's another podcast. Thomas, want to move on to some sports talk?
Sure. Tom Shitty Picks is brought to you by Brock Street Brewing Company, located at 244 Brock Street South in Whitby, Ontario. Everything is brewed in-house, including their hard iced teas, their beers, vodka sodas, and their hard seltzers. So if you're in the Whitby area, go check them out and tell them the 1973 podcast sent you. All right, so I was a day off on my Oklahoma City pick last week. They had a home and home. I picked the game for Monday. should have picked the game for Sunday because they lost the game Monday. But it was great, two great games. I think the Sunday night game, Oklahoma City won by 7, and then Monday night they lost by 3. But there were two really good games. I don't watch a lot of basketball anymore, but I did catch the end of the Monday game, and it was a good game. But this week I'm going 3 tiers, and I'm going hockey, and I'm going in on the Bruins hard. I think first of all, it's not a hard thing to predict right now, but I'm predicting for the first time since 2015, 2016, they missed the playoffs. Then I'm predicting that they're blowing the team up. They're going to make at least 3 trades at the deadline, which I think is this weekend. Is it coming up this
Friday.
Friday? I think they're going to make at least 3 trades. I think they're going to finally blow the team up, start building the team with some youth. I mean, they have nothing coming up in the minors right now. Their minor leagues is terrible. And my third prediction is Don Sweeney gets fired after the season, and Jamie Langenbrunner is going to become the new GM. Who he's been with the team since 2015. In different roles, he's worked his way up, and for the last like 4 years, he's been the assistant GM. I think they're going to give him a shot and go with finally somebody a little bit different. I mean, he has been in the organization for 10 years, but he played 16 years and he never played with the Bruins, so he doesn't have that whole Bruins taint to him. So I'm going with that's my prediction right now.
Okay,
You think
Thomas.
Marchand's going to be one of them, Tom?
Well, I did, but I don't know how bad he's hurt now because he got hurt yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But I was telling Andy he's got an 8-team trade, 8-team no trade clause, and from what I read, he's kind of reached a deal with them before he got hurt was to go and get traded, and then during the offseason sign as a free agent, sign back with the Bees because he's a free agent. So we'll see. But I do think I think Carlo will get traded. Another guy I thought was going to get traded until he got hurt was Frederick because he's a unrestricted free agent. I don't think they're going to be able to sign him. I wouldn't be surprised if they trade Charlie Coyle.
They're stuck for no draft picks, Tom. So they have to trade some assets to get some picks because they want to rebuild. Then they don't have anything in the queue.
Yep.
I think the only guys that they shouldn't touch is just McAvoy, Pasta, and Sway. Anybody else should, whatever you can get for them.
They even said that they're not sure about Pasternak not being available unless he's got like a solid no move contract because that's
I think the no move is the $11 million that he makes.
Right.
that's
Yeah,
odd.
I mean, yeah.
I think the Bruins are going to end up lucking out though because the cap's going up so much that they'll kind of. I don't see them doing like a full rebuild. I think they're going to try to like retool it as they go along. But when that cap goes way up, then they'll have flexibility to kind of add some guys, which they don't now.
And I know you're gonna love this one that they're talking actually to putting another team in Phoenix. Can you believe that? Atlanta and Phoenix. It just blows my mind that stuff. Gary Bettman, we need to move on from you.
Every game I watch the Blackhawks and I watch TJ Brody play, I think to myself, there's too many guys in this league.
There's AHL quality guys in the league. We've had that conversation.
AHL second lineup.
Yeah. Why don't you just absorb all the East Coast Hockey League teams and turn them into NHL teams, and then you'll just call it a day. Just build them arenas or whatever. Thomas, in the sports realm, Scotty had posted something that you guys were going back and forth about. What was that banter?
What was it? I don't even remember.
Oh, I know it was Trump on his social had said something about he's going to pardon Pete Rose and kind of force the hand of MLB to kind of finally put him in the Hall of Fame. So I mean, I kind of had said to Scott when he put it out there, it's like man's dead. It's a little late now. I mean, I don't know what his family feels about it, but it's I don't know. I guess it's like a feel good story if they kind of do it, but had all these years to do it while he was alive, you know.
Yep. What do you think of that, Tom?
He should have been in a long time ago. I mean, this is probably a reach a little bit, but I'd say 40% of the league is on something performance enhancing or gambling, or I mean, you're seeing it now in other sports where like basketball. I think last year a guy got kicked out of the league for gambling. I mean, it happens. Unfortunately, it's part of it's how it is right now. So I mean, he didn't bet on his team to lose. So I mean, I don't have any problem with him making it.
The other thing I want to ask you guys about, we didn't touch on it. I'm not sure if it happened after we recorded last week. PK Subban's quote about the NBA versus the NHL. Thomas, did you see that?
No.
Phantom, did you see that?
I did see it. It was pretty good. He pretty much was, trying to put hockey over as far as the basketball goes, with the load management and how there's no passion in basketball anymore. That's why they're losing viewers, because it's kind of a me sport. You're not playing for the guys on the side of you, where hockey's like kind of like, still to this day, it's always about the team. Even if you got guys on the team that aren't about the team, you don't really know it. It's more of the hockey culture, I guess, is stronger as far as like when the playoffs come and the guys are playing all beat up, and you're not going to see that in basketball. So it was actually pretty long. It's pretty good. Check it out.
Yeah.
For all the stuff that comes out of his mouth, it was pretty good.
I posted
and
it on.
He didn't do it on a hockey broadcast. He was on like ESPN, like with the basketball guys.
Yeah, and there was some rebuttals to it too, and they didn't even. And some of the people that I think it was Kevin Garnett was one of the people that replied,
kind of went at him a little bit,
and he didn't even know who PK Subban was. He's like, this hockey dude, and this, that, and the other thing, and they don't know, just going on trying to defend it. And I mean, I think the way you look at it is we even run the podcast like a hocky team almost. It's kind of a family, all for one for all kind of deal. And
if you think about when we watched a lot of basketball, pretty much, I don't think I was, maybe when the Bulls were first starting to win, it was kind of where I started dropping off watching basketball. But we loved basketball when it was like the Pistons and the Celtics, and they were fighting, and you had the same guys on the same team for years, and the rivalries were all kind of different. It's such a different game. It's the way they play it. You got this year, my son gets me in a fantasy basketball league, so it's like I pretty much have a fantasy team for every sport. So I'm like, why not? I'll do it. And I was just kind of curious. I was like, I don't really know the guys that well anymore, so I'm just going to be like, pick up the hot guy, not really do it like how I do my other fantasy teams, where it's like I got a guy that's doing shitty, but I'll never drop him because in my mind I think he's good. This one, it's like, this guy's doing shitty, I get rid of him. So I'm actually like doing pretty well. But the thing that blows me away is how often these guys are out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even the stars. You have guys not even hurt. All of a sudden you go to put your lineup in. You got three guys that you can put on IR, and you're constantly flipping guys in and out of the lineup because the guys aren't playing. It's ridiculous. Especially when you're charging that much for, that was a part of the PK thing as well, is you're charging big bucks for, say the Lakers are coming to town. You never saw LeBron if you're a big basketball guy. Then you go to the game, you don't even play. He's not even hurt. That's bullshit.
Totally get it. Bradford, NHL versus NBA?
Yeah, we went down and saw the New Orleans Pelicans basketball team a few years ago when the Lakers came to town, just so we could go see LeBron play. And the tickets we usually got were like 3 times as much, just because it was the Lakers, So yeah, man, it's the NHL versus every other professional sport. Maybe not Major League Baseball so much, because I don't see those guys bowing out of the All-Star games. If they get selected, they get voted in, more than likely they play it. They take it serious. NBA, NFL, if they make the Pro Bowl, the All-Stars or whatever, they're always dipping out, coming up with excuses why they can't play. They're hurt. They're load management. It's something going on. NHL is like, nah, this is an exhibition. First time we've done it. Somebody disrespected us, so we're gonna get in 3 fights in 9 minutes. Like, it's wild, man. It got me interested in hockey for like 5 seconds. It's like what is the passion? Where is this coming from, man? Still hard for me to watch. It's still boring. I can't get into it.
The thing that's funny too is like,
I'm trying.
As a hockey guy. So now you got all the people that watch that first game, and they're like, what is this hockey all about? This is awesome. Yep. If they went from that just to watching a regular NHL regular season game, You're not seeing that every night. That's not that was
Mm-mm.
that was the best of the best on that one game. So you only got one place to go from there. You might say this was awesome, and you start watching some regular season stuff. Man, you might have like somebody get hooked on it, but if you're expecting to see that every game, you're not getting it.
You're not gonna get the
So the playoffs is
if you if
probably I
you're
think it's the
a
best playoffs going.
if you're a fan of a certain team and your team can creep into the playoffs and you can get that first round of, hey, I'm watching every Tuesday, I'm watching every Thursday, I'm watching every Saturday. Oh, they made it past the first round. Oh, all right. And then you're starting to know like guys on other teams and oh, I don't like this guy because he ran the goalie or he took a run at whoever. Then you get kind of hooked with it. And so playoffs are definitely a different animal, but it's the Olympics should be good. They did like a mock makeup of the teams that weren't in the four nations, like Russia, and the lineup is unbelievable for Russia. I mean, it not that you're going to root for them, but man, will they be fun to watch if they can squeeze Ovi and Malkin and Valesky as the goalie, and oh my God, and then you got Mitchkov and the younger guys in the mix. They definitely. I wish that they had them in the four nations. I don't know why that wasn't in the mix, but if they ever do it again, they got to have Russia in there just for the firepower. The defense might be a little lacking, but just the upfront.
Well, the thing that's crazy about it, it's all like we've talked about before, all has to do with the politics and all of that, which is kind of like those guys all live in the United States, so it's kind of I don't know. I kind of feel like they're getting punished for something they don't really have any control of.
No,
It'd almost be like you know when we were in as far as how the world views things, like when we were in like Iraq or Afghanistan or something like that, and all of a sudden they're like not letting the Americans play because we're in this war that they disagree with. It. I don't think any of that stuff should really roll into the pro sports stuff, or really even that. That's even more. It's like the amateurs. But the only time I can remember Russia being out was like when they were like producing, like all the guys were all on juice and stuff. Remember they had to wear that like false flag. They couldn't wear Russian jerseys. They just had to say like athletes from I don't know if it's the Soviet Union or Russia or whatever it was.
but
That's my 2 cents.
well, it's coming. It'll be here before you know it. So yeah, it'll be definitely fun to watch. And the best thing is to look at the prelims with all the countries that have teams like Jamaica and how they get blown out by Japan like 68-0, and like Japan blew out Jamaica in a prelim like 68-0. Then when they get into the actual the bracket and Japan's in there, and then they're getting smoked like 42-0.
Well, it's funny. It's like take baseball for example. United States or America had dominated the world in baseball, and now the other countries. Now I think the kids. I think baseball's like I'm a baseball fan, but I think that it's like definitely an over. What do you think, Tom? Over 40 sport? Like kids ain't watching baseball.
No.
You got kids. You might have the kids that would watch some hockey. Everything's football. That's you ain't touching that. But some of these sports, they got a lot of viewership. But as the older generation starts dropping off, I think baseball is going to be hurting. They need to do something because I don't. Well, my son watches baseball, but none of his friends do, and they play baseball. That's always kind of blown. Any sport that I played. I mean, I was always a sports fan, so the sports I didn't play, I still watch. But the kids today, they actually play a sport and they have like zero interest in watching it. It's kind of weird. Like I don't really get it. Just for tricks of the trade, at the very least, who doesn't want to watch something and be like, oh, I'm going to try that? Or I don't think you really see that anymore. I don't know if it's because of the Instagrams and the YouTubes. You can get everything on highlights. You don't really have to watch the game anymore. You can kind of anything that's important, you can kind of see it, but it's such a different sports culture, I guess.
So speaking of watching stuff, let's talk about a very much watched segment. We'll move away from the sports and get into a deep dive. But before that, I want to bring awareness to we have a new sponsor. So we're going to push the book aside for a new sponsor. I don't know if you saw it. Break 'em up at news on the Facebook page. Thomas, let the guys know what time it is.
All right. The 1973 podcast is now fueled by W Energy, but it wasn't always this way. W Energy was born from humble beginnings. An idea sparked in a small apartment when our founder Anthony set out to take the energy drink giants, aka the Big Energy, after trying a big name competitor's product and being disappointed by the taste and poor quality ingredients. Anthony knew he could do better, so he dove deep into formulation, mastering the ingredients, flavors, and performance to create an energy drink that works without the jitters, crashes, sugars, artificial dyes, or calories. Dubby launched with just one flavor and reinvested every penny to grow. Now we've created 15 plus custom made flavors enjoyed by thousands of loyal customers every month. So are you ready to break free from big energy? Go to www.dubyenergy.com. That's DUBBY energy.com and use code 1973 podcast at the checkout for a 10% off of your order. W Energy. W Energy. No jitters, no crash, just pure focus. Now back to the 73 podcast.
All right, Bradford, it's time to put on that tinfoil hat, get that aluminum foil out, and let's roll.
First of all, I got to hit up this W Energy drink. I spend a fortune on caffeine products every week. So I'm gonna be hitting that up. I'm gonna use what's the promo code?
1973 podcast.
I'm hitting that up as soon as we get off of here. So I want to
Guys
talk
like
about
pros.
what's that?
Guys are like pros.
Yeah. So I want to talk about for tinfoil hat this huge letdown that was the Epstein file release, this full transparency bullshit that we got sold. So first of all, Lord Commander Trump had a bunch of right-wing conservative uh influencers. I say Lord Commander, hopefully y'all know ironically. Uh he had them all come to the White House. They're now officially like on the payroll as press people, like official press for his administration. He gave them all binders. He told them all to go out. They did a photo op. They gave them all the script that they all posted word for word to their Instagrams. The greatest president ever, most transparent president, gave us these binders that's full of so much information. Literally, you can go all like there's like 10 of them. Go to all 10 of them. They all posted the exact same thing word for word. 100% they were given a script to go and told what to post. And then come to find out it's just a notebook full of redacted information. And not only was it redacted, the super sleuths on TikTok went and found those same files. So there are the Epstein file release. There's like 3 or 4 websites that have already posted the flight logs and court docs and stuff that they got from like Freedom of Information Act. Those binders was all that info that's already readily available. And then they redacted the information that you can already go get if you just go do a little bit of digging. So why are they like essentially it was nothing. It was a horse and pony show, dog and pony show, whatever you want to call it. It was a power move, it was a power play, whatever you want to call it, by Trump and that administration. Promised a lot of return. He knew people were chomping at the bit. Look, you got Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, man and woman, ringleaders, both in jail. One died under mysterious circumstances. Ghislaine Maxwell, I haven't heard shit about her in jail for a very long time. I don't even know where she is or anything anymore. So how can you arrest the 2 ringleaders but not go after the people that were contracting their services? There's got to be a list of people of offenders who are using them. Otherwise, how could they be in jail? The reason why, and you guys got to know, like this is not even conspiracy realm. There's movie stars, athletes, elites, politicians, both Democrat and Republican on that list. Bro, there's a huge conspiracy going around that Trump met Melania through Jeffrey Epstein. How crazy is that? Not only that, do you know who Ghislaine Maxwell's father is?
I do
Mr.
know
Maxwell. Who?
I do know who it is, Brad, but go ahead.
He was Israel's Mossad's super spy of the year. Dude is a running employee of the month for the Mossad. I think he's dead now. When he was alive, he was running operations which makes people think that Ghislaine and Epstein themselves were probably just planted by the Mossad to get dirt on politicians, elites, bureaucrats, royalty, what's his name? Creepy ass Prince Andrew,
Mhm.
all these
But yeah.
powerful figureheads, they're just running this gambit to get, you know, videos and footage and evidence on them. So then they can use that to influence to meet their needs, man. And it's all starting to make a whole lot of sense, dude. But this whole Trump releasing the Epstein, man, talk about a letdown. They said it's phase one. What are the next phases going to be? Like, I'm not even interested. Like, what,
The next phase is going to be all the people that are his rivals will be the ones that are on the list.
right? It's going to be something stupid or something we've already been told. Like, he promised us he would explain the Jersey drones. Came out, didn't say shit, had his press release where they said, oh, it was the FAA authorized and knew about it. He promised us the truth about aliens. He promised the truth about JFK, Martin Luther King, and Bobby Kennedy. We haven't heard shit. And he promised us transparency on this, and we got notebooks of redacted information that was already made public a year ago. It's
Brad,
a total psyop, man. It's a total psyop.
I have a question for you. In your opinion, because this is your segment, we love to talk about this stuff. If Epstein was the ringleader for a certain service, let's just say, and now that service is gone, do you think somebody else continued that service and has
Oh,
yet to be found? Did somebody else take over the same kind of service, just in a different way, not connected to Epstein, but doing the same thing? Like if you,
100%.
if your local Kmart finally closed, you finally start shopping at Walmart type of thing.
100%. It is a new operation. 100%. Like
So it
300,000 kids went missing at the border in the under Biden's administration. Those kids went somewhere.
I
They went somewhere.
not to change the subject away from that, but speaking of conspiracy theories, I heard a good one this week that the whole Adam Walsh from when we were kids, that John Walsh started America's Most Wanted, the TV show, because of his son went missing, and they supposedly found the body apart and the whole thing, and there was a big story with child abduction in the early 80s, and that was his quest to that that never really happened. That was just a whole just an operation to create that show. That never
Damn.
that he was just a paid actor.
Damn.
Imagine
I
that.
didn't hear that one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I came across that this week, and I was like, wow, that is evil on so many levels.
That was just to get ratings for the show. That's all.
Yeah, yeah, just
Holy
like
You
crap.
figure anything like that, if you were clever back then, how where's the research? Like you can't. It's not like today. Yeah,
right.
everybody's got a computer in their pocket.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing that I like about what Brad said about sarcastically super sleuths on TikTok. There's some people on there that will dedicate their a whole day or week to deep diving into something that they, you know, feel compassionate about. And if you come across that stuff, these people will go into it with like green screen and back and all this other stuff. So I mean,
Oh,
go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think both ways. I think they'll go in deep and try to ruin somebody just out with some freaking BS just for the sake of doing it.
True, true. I
True.
mean, there is the Karen factor with some of it, right? Thomas, thoughts on the Epstein list?
Absolutely 100% agree with Brad. It's never going to come out because there's too many people on, like you said, both sides of the aisle. Doesn't matter if you're a Republican, Democrat, they don't want those names to come out. It'll never come out. If you might see a few names, like you say, it could be enemies of the state of Trump and that slip out, but you'll never see the complete list.
So you're not totally happy with the whole first couple months of the second go around of Donald Trump. You're saying, Brad?
Man, I wanted aliens. I wanted the truth about JFK. I wanted the client list. I wanted,
Stuff to
man,
talk about on the podcast.
yeah, as a conspiracy theorist wet dream, and we got nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Ryan, want to add anything?
No, I think you guys covered it pretty good. I was kind of the same way. I kind of thought that though. I think when we talked about the JFK stuff from a couple of weeks back, I was like, yeah, when they release, it's going to be all blacked out documents or whatever. So it's they only tell you what they want you to know or they want you to talk about. They ain't giving you nothing for free.
No.
This is true, sir. This
Maybe
is
maybe
true.
they're waiting for the shit to hit the fan before they start releasing any files or anything like that. When they need to say, hey, look over here, so we can do some shit over here.
Yep. That's
The
what.
old,
Yep. That's it.
the old sleight of hand, as always. Been
Yep.
working forever. Thomas, are you ready to wrap this up with some shout outs?
Sure.
So it's tinfoil hat's always great, though. I will say it's always an eclectic view on things, but the last couple subjects have been pretty much right across the board, just disappointment and BS factor. So, Tom, what do you got this week for a shout out?
Want to give a shout out to my stepdaughter Allie. She unfortunately was collateral damage with the whole Emperor Musk slicing and dicing government jobs, and she lost her job last week. But
Man.
she seemed to have landed on her feet. I think she's already got a new job, which she's on to bigger and better things.
Phantom, what do you got?
I'll shout out the youngest boy, Austin. Spent the weekend with him. It's nice to see him. Doing well. Went to go check out UNH and BC last night. Good game, OT. Of course, BC wins in the end, but it is what it is. But yeah, it was good to see him.
I got I'm going to shout out to Ed. He's been missed
Hey,
three straight weeks in a row. I don't know if he's using vacation time, using personal time, but he's got to let the HR office know so we don't write him up.
he's the first one of us for the stuff we say they had to relocate.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to put a milk cart in next week with his
Yep.
face on if he doesn't show up.
Yeah, we're gonna work on that. We'll use some Photoshop and we'll work on that. We'll put it in the podcast. State tournament for the daughter next weekend. When we record, we'll see one of two. We're going for more gold in the house. Let's freaking go. Bradford, you're gonna close out the show. What do you got?
I just want to shout out little man Lucas turned 9 on Friday. Happy birthday! Also, happy Mardi Gras. He's a Mardi Gras baby. We didn't know that when we conceived him, but turns out he's a Mardi Gras baby. Yeah.
Now, Brad, I saw on the old socials that you were involved in a little bit of dodgeball, if that's what you call it down there. Did you happen to unalive any children today?
I was wrecking shop to the point that I barely got out of bed this morning.
Good for you.
Good
Bro,
man.
I've been like I was sore. Like my arm, my shoulder, my back. I'm
looking
again,
around.
buddy.
I'm looking around. I'm like, I don't see any adults, and I just see a bunch of 9-year-olds running
Bro.
around getting.
They were like, Coach Brad, Coach Brad. I was like, I'll be right there. Just hold my drink.
One of the best sounds from my childhood, especially being Gen X, is the sound of that red ball as it carries through the air. That like whistle as it goes. If you are sports inclined, you gotta love yourself some dodgeball, or up here we called it bombardment.
Yep.
You gotta love it. That game is that good.
I didn't get that name change until we hit high school. That thing was dodgeball like my whole life growing up, and then all of a sudden we got to gym class at Volk, and it was like we're gonna play bombardment. I'm like, what the hell's this?
Same concept.
A tool for hazing when it was legal.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's pick the teams, boys.
Yeah.
Seniors versus the freshmen. Let's go. Speaking of freshmen, Brad would be the freshman on this group. Bradford, freshman hazing.
Yeah. Yeah, no dodgeball over here. I was wrecking shop though. There was no mercy. They knew what they were getting into when they walked into the store. They knew what was happening.
That's
Yep.
awesome.
F around, find out, right, Brad?
Yeah, yeah. They knew what was up.
Did the game have more blood than the pay-per-view?
Oh yeah, one kid did get a bloody nose.
Yeah, boy, Brad.
I did not give him the bloody nose.
You gave him the Paul Skeens right to the
No,
mush.
I was blamed for it and like got scolded. But I was like,
Ooh.
first of all, I don't even know who this kid is. How did he even get in here? He's not, is he part of the party? You know what I mean? And the mom was over there and everything. It was one of the kid's brothers, but I don't know I still don't know what happened to his nose.
It's funny because I like to like tout back in our day when we
Yeah,
when we were all over the streets and nobody knew where we were and our parents didn't care for us and blah blah blah
yeah,
blah blah blah. And then I become an adult and I have birthday parties at my house and all of a sudden I'm like, who the hell's this kid?
yep,
I'll be like, call my kid over and say, hey, who's that? Oh, that kid's in my class. I'm like, his parents here?
yep,
No, they dropped him off. I'm like,
yeah,
what time are they coming to get him? I got this kid at my house at 8 o'clock at night.
yep, yep. We had a couple of those. We were like, hey, it's parties are over.
I got a few old school parents still kicking around somewhere. I
Yeah,
just don't want that kid at my house with allergy
yeah.
problems.
Like, do we need to call your mom? Is she
Whoa.
coming? Are you coming home with us? Is she coming to get you?
Like, I'm giving his parents 15 more minutes and I'm giving everybody peanut butter.
Yeah.
We're one of those kids that was lingering past the potty, Tom,
Yes.
Oh, Tom, my man.
can
That
take
man
down a
helped set
tent
up
like
a lot of, a
nobody's
lot of
business.
a lot of tents in my life, my man. Over there.
All right, we
Oh,
gotta
man.
wrap this up.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Next week, Ed, the return of Ed.